And boom, we are live. Welcome to Tokyo Tonight. Good to see you all here back again. Hope you were able to join last night for 2.5 Oyajis. Yeah, I must admit, I want to get guests back. It's kind of hard. There's been a lot going on lately, and I haven't been very well organized around my videos. You know, probably going up to the end of the year, it's going to be like that. But I do want to go back into this, you know, into getting more regular guests and topics from next year. So I'm sorry it's a little bit loose, but there again, you know, Victor is always good for coming up with, you know, he's good at talking about what's going on. And I thought it was a good discussion yesterday. But yeah, I would want to get some more structure around that. Certainly what I'm doing on my own. One thing, just even tonight, my main problem has been that I don't have just very much time to sit here in front of the computer and edit stuff like I used to be able to do. And that's why I only do these live videos. And I've lately become aware with my new phone, with my iPhone 7, of quite impressive editing power. In fact, on a par with my quite high-powered computer that I can now do on my phone, and the possibilities that opens up. So I'm experimenting at the moment with a whole bunch of things that I'm doing, and I'm uploading now probably like 5 different videos, or types of videos, and they're on different places that are not on this main channel. So just a reminder to everybody, the very awesome Tokyo Digital crew has a YouTube channel as well as a SoundCloud. Would love it. One, if you want to catch my when I record making music, I now am, when I remember to and I'm able to, I do record using this live. My last couple of videos I've recorded live. And those are on there, and there's a playlist for them over on Tokyo Digital Crew. So go subscribe to Tokyo Digital Crew, because you're all great guys, and there's a lot of guys, especially like Fogheart, who have a lot to teach about how to make this stuff. And by the way, don't forget, if you want just to check out, and if you ever hear anything that I make that you like, but you would like a loop rather than the whole track or one part of a track, just ask me, I'll give it to you. You can of course download all the tracks for free and use them freely, or off the Tokyo Digital Crew account on SoundCloud. But yeah, if you ever want me to do something based on a track that's out there, just let me know. But also I created another account, which is my default Google account, which is just there from having Google Plus, which I never, you know, uploaded videos onto. I call it Hikobako, and it's just a place where it's kind of like, I called it like a dust box. It's just a place to experiment. I've got 4 videos up there at the moment. I've got My Girl Alexa, where I plan to just, when I can, record like random tricks and experiments and so on using my imported Amazon tab. I have, what else do I have? I have Tokyo Effect, which is just you know, short little clips and so on when I'm experimenting with apps and features and so on, hyperlapses, slow motion, filters, stuff like that I shoot around Tokyo. If you just want to see random Tokyo stuff, there's Tokyo Effect. I've got a bunch of unuploaded fighting and training videos just from my kickboxing, which I haven't done for a couple of weeks now with the cold, and actually I've got a few injuries I really need to get cleared up. So I'm taking a bit of a rest. I feel terribly unfit about that, but the videos are there, and it's something I really enjoy. So there's a Fight Club. There is also so what is there? There's My Girl Alexa, Fight Club, Tokyo Effect, and there is The Mediocre Gamer. So The Mediocre Gamer, as I mentioned before, I play lots of games on iOS, and I want to capture or do either reviews or capture myself playing some of these games, and you know, just experimenting with the format. So I actually, there is actually an in-game live recording mode when you play on multiplayer for Modern Combat 5. So I tried that the other day on the train, and had an okay round that was good enough, that 4 minutes long, that yeah, I saved onto the phone. I overlaid commentary of it. You can actually record from a mic while it's playing, but I was on a train, so I couldn't really do that. So I did actually record the voiceover, and I put a little video box on later on of the commentary. But I captured that and edited it all, including adding music, including picture-in-picture, including capturing and playing the game, everything all just on my phone. It's really, really cool. So, you know, it's really cool to me that I can do that on there. Plus, the other thing I did on the video I uploaded tonight of Modern Combat 5 was I also took advantage of all the features I tell people at the Creator Days to use that I never really used myself. The end cards, just showing what the other playlists are. as well as the cards and polls and stuff inside the video, which is something as well I'd really like to integrate more into this. But yeah, you know, so I am doing stuff, but it's all off this channel at the moment. And I guess one thing is if you like those videos, let me know on those videos if you think I should move them, migrate them onto the main channel. You know, at the moment I'm still experimenting. I want to get them going regular and try to get them up to a decent quality before I sort of put them on this channel. But yeah, they are actually easy to do. Yeah, that is what that is about. That is actually should be here. This is the video. I should actually probably update my video information from the live stream so that you can actually get all that information and those links from below this video, which I haven't updated for a while. So I will do that. So let's see who is in the house and watching. We have Mr. Razal Gul, good to see you as always, along with Mr. Cordy Chip. It is mysterious how you guys always show up at the same time. I don't know, people are just going to say things, that's all I can say. People have been at various mothers' houses, that's interesting. I'm going to make food, just got up. Okay, I guess it is early in the morning there in the UK. Matagaijinka, excellent to see you, sir, or ma'am, I'm sorry. Who else we got? We got Robert Old Dude. Andrea Moboy, good to see you. Don't worry, I'm not going to actually go on a butter rant today, or I'm not planning to. Although now that I just said the word butter, I am feeling kind of angry about it. But no, I hope you're feeling better, by the way, Andrea. And how is China? Who else we got here? Lara is still out, but she says hi. Oh, well, tell Lara back hi from everyone here. Who else we got in here? We got the Sergeant Bilko. Hello, good morning, Sweden. Everyone's looking at Europe at the moment, so congrats on that. Icarus 18, great to see you. And some good. What else we got here? I think that just jumped a little bit, but let's see. We also have Barringer and Gaijin Down Under, good to see you. G'day indeed. Lucas Massa, good to see you, my man in the Philippines. Jason is lost, awesome to see you. Well, there's kind of a gaming, there's an experimental channel. In fact, if you just look up the Mediocre Gamer, that's a playlist that I will be building out, just experimenting on how to best capture and you know what to do about that. That'll be kind of fun. It is kind of a thing. Plus, I'm kind of interested in looking at Twitch as well and just how that works. I thought actually YouTube had acquired that, but no, it's actually Twitch is different, isn't it? They've got their own. YouTube's got its own gaming thing. But that'd be kind of cool. Kenji Hosokawa, my man, good to see you, sir. Everyone follow Kenji Hosokawa on, I don't know if you can see it from his YouTube channel information, but Kenji, you should totally put your Twitter into your YouTube channel information, because I would say to everybody, follow Kenji Hosokawa on Twitter. He's got a really good Twitter account. Holy shit, it's unrested. By the way, congrats, man. I think we're both getting our subs deleted like crazy, but I think you surpassed me the other day, so yeah, congrats, well deserved. You actually put a lot more effort, and I think you have much better quality on what you do, and I am envious of the movie stuff and all the work that you put into all your vids. So Unrested, much respect, and big congrats on that. And you just put up a horror. Oh, so is that the movie? Is that like the 2-hour movie that you were talking about? Let me, the comments are moving. I'm trying to go back to what he wants the shout out on. Come on. Oh, here we go. That was Icarus. Now let me try to, the comments are moving, so it's kind of like trying to keep balance on a really wobbly ship at the moment. But Unrested was there asking for a shout out, and I'm going to give you that shout out. First of all, just awesome. Damn it, I can't find it. Let's go. Unrested. Okay. Boom. Let's go. Unrested. You finished it. Oh, dude, he finished the movie. Okay, so Unrested has been working on making a horror movie forever. Super creative guy. You know how good his like horror, storytelling and featured stuff are. So totally, you get a shout out for that. In fact, I think I'm going to finish this video early just so I can go and watch it. Everybody go and check out. Definitely go and support Unrested. He's gone and done what we all sort of dream of doing, which is taking this online, random video posting thing and actually doing something genuinely structured and creative with it, making a movie. And a lot of people talk about doing this and they don't actually get it. They don't do it. Very few people have really gone into that. So Unrested, much respect for getting that done. And I can't wait to see it. Everyone go and check out Unrested's channel for Japanese horror movie. I hope that's a sufficient shout out. I'm actually really excited about this. I mean, genuinely, I'm gonna go and check that out right after. And I assume you've tweeted and everything. I'll totally retweet and everything. That is awesome. You got that done, man. And Unrested, by the way, if you don't subscribe to him, where the hell have you been? I mean, he is one of the big YouTube channels. He is in Osaka. I'd say he's like the top. I'm trying to think. Well, you know what? Now there are actually a lot of channels that are suddenly have even like run by foreigners. There are channels that have like 1 million subscribers that popped out of nowhere in the last year, and they're all over the place. And I'm not even keeping up. But insofar as I know, in terms of the community, I mean, Unrested is definitely like the top international YouTuber in the Osaka region. At least that pops to mind. So subscribe to the guy. 071, good to see you. Channel Ralph, good to see you from Oz. We're in Oz. Brisbane is in a heat wave at the moment. Oh shit, 36 to 41. How many days in a row? Jeez, 3 days of that. Well, Brisbane's where I'm going to be going from just before Christmas. I will be going to Christchurch for a few days over Christmas. That will be good as well, because that'll be a little bit cooler than Brisbane. We were really lucky last year. I was there for like 1.5 weeks and like 10 days. And it was like overcast the whole time. So it was like 29 degrees and overcast. It was like perfect. It wasn't too hot. You could do pretty much anything. 36 to 41 degrees. I don't do Fahrenheit, but I think 41 degrees is about 110. Someone's probably going to correct me on that. In fact, let's do this. Let's ask Alexa. How hot is 41 degrees Celsius in Fahrenheit?
41 degrees Celsius is 105.8 degrees Fahrenheit.
Well, there you go, 105.8. For 3 days in a row, that's still pretty hot. So 45 degrees must be about 110. This is why I like having this. It's kind of cool for random stuff like that. I wonder if I can tell one of the first topics actually for Taiwan. Who is the president of Taiwan? Does it even know? Who is the president of Taiwan?
Taiwan's president is Tsai Ing-wen.
There you go. Oh, awesome. Cool little toy. And it's going to get more and more useful, and that's why I want to do this blog, just sort of tracking all the cool stuff that I can do. I wish I could actually track like how many subscribers I have, so I don't have to like look through it and cry endlessly at how many are being deleted. What else have we got? So I have one channel, Ralph, Gaijin Down Under. That sucks. The heat thing. James O'Hara didn't. I have no idea what you're talking about there, but yes, there's a lot of butter where I came from. Tainaka, good to see you. Everyone there loving that Unrested is in the house. Great to see Wei Gaijin. Good to see you. Kran, good to see you. Ben Duncan, hey, yeah, you're finally catching a Tokyo Tonight. It's good to see you here. Yeah, it's really great to see Unrested in the comments. I hope I keep him sufficiently entertained to hang around for a bit, but of course, there again, geez, he's quite rightly promoting his movie, which is much more work than this. I'm just talking to myself like a crazy person. Zach is in here. Was that Phoenix Zach? I guess so. I kind of missed that, but yeah, Skynet is here indeed. Kran, Sergeant Booker, Megstar. Hey, good to see Megstar. That is Alexa indeed. Lucas Masa, Unrested. Do they have Christmas trees in Japan? They do. They actually do. They have, as well as the actual the pine Christmas trees. They also have them up in shops everywhere at the moment already. So apparently the glitch has to do with people not responding to notifications. Okay, well that's good to hear that they made some progress on identifying what that glitch thing is. I assume this is about the subscribers, the subscriptions dropping. Mr. Quitty refuses to make videos. I admire your adherence to principle. Chris J finally made it again. Yeah, well, I think if you mean me, yes indeed. I've never heard of butter spades, and believe me, I have a strange feeling, James O'Hara. I don't want to find out. And Lysander 45, good to see. Glad to see that you made it. Channel Ralph, I actually got this from the aerospace, from the Space Museum in Seattle when I went to Seattle for work recently, and I got to actually go inside motherfucking space shuttle, like the training space shuttle that the actual astronauts in Houston used. And that was awesome. I just had to buy this from the shop. This is where I took the photo of the SR-71 that I got to sit in the cockpit of. I sat in the cockpit of a Blackbird, and I hung out in the actual training space shuttle that the actual astronauts used. And so yeah, I totally got the t-shirts. Dude, that was like my whole dream as a kid, was to do that. You look antisocial. I look antisocial, dude. Come on. Tokyo Twilight, it's good to see you, by the way. So cool, nice to see some familiar and not so familiar usernames. It's great to see so many people here. In fact, Tokyo Twilight rings a bell. I'm trying to remember. I know I've met this person. I'm pretty sure I've met Tokyo Twilight before, but I'm trying to remember. Anyway, let's get into the topics. Yeah, apparently if people don't respond, YouTube starts deleting subs, thinking they are inactive sub farms. Well, you know what, there's a lot of people, I'm kind of, in the sense that YouTube wants the data to be good, and if people are gaming the system and using sub farms and stuff like that, well, they should be burned completely, you know. And who knows how some of those big channels got to be so big. But that said, yeah, that's right. If it doesn't, when it's actually burning people who aren't doing anything, that's kind of not cool. So that is how it goes. You have an angry face. I'm sorry to hear that. Well, I'm sure your face is just fine. So let's get into the topics for tonight, because it has been an interesting week, and let's see how much of it we can get through. We're already 20 minutes into the video, so let's go through what looks interesting. Ken Tanaka has a new video up, which I haven't seen yet, but I really want to go and see this, so that's why I bookmarked that. By the way, I haven't curated these links anymore, you know that, because again, I'm just running out of time, and I'm trying to make this all easy on myself. This is kind of interesting. The one down the bottom, this is talking about how, you might recall like a year ago, President Park of Korea, who is currently 4% approval rating, 0% approval rating from Koreans under 30 years old, and she's getting so hated on at the moment. Very long story about why, but it all stems from the fact that she is now, everyone there is pretty well convinced that she is being manipulated by a weird religious cult that has actually manipulated her into facilitating them extorting companies for money. She's actually like cooperated with that. She's given them access to the office of the president there, and everyone's just like, get rid of this person. Truth is, I really disliked her for a long time since she became president, because I thought she was being, frankly, kind of needlessly dickish towards Japan. And I kind of, you know what, with all the drama that's happening lately, I was almost starting to feel sorry for her, and I'd almost forgotten all of the just relentless, kind of pointless antagonism of Japan, which was partly because her father, who was a big military dictator, was actually very Japan friendly. In fact, her father actually served in the Japanese military and was educated in Japan. I think he's like a Tokyo University graduate, a military officer in the Japanese imperial military, and a military dictator of Korea, who said that he would actually blow up the Dokdo Takeshima Lion Court rocks if they ever caused a problem between Korean and Japan relations. Also, her father oversaw the treaty that saw Japan pay reparations and get off the hook for all of the war reparations to Korea, which is now being undone. Because those things are so unpopular, she had to kind of prove she wasn't like her dad, which she did by being a real dick towards Japan in just all sorts of ways. But she also showed a lot of tendencies like her father, being kind of dictatory. And one of the things was that she didn't like criticism. She doesn't really accept the idea of having a free press, it seems. And so when all the press was giving her a really hard time about the ferry sinking, the seawall sinking, and they were publishing rumors about 7 missing hours, where they say there were rumors that she might have been with a boyfriend or getting plastic surgery or doing something, but there were 7 unaccounted for hours that happened after the ferry crisis. The Japanese, very right-wing, kind of gives Korea a very hard time. Sankei newspaper kind of took a lot of the news reporting on the rumors about what the president was doing, and wrote a story about those in Japan, in Japanese, just summarizing in Korea, these are all the rumors that are around the president. Well, the president wanted to shut down all of those sort of rumors that were like, insinuating things about her. But she wanted to do it without directly attacking Korean press, so she found a way to do it. Until now, it was never clear that there was a link between the Korean president doing this and just the police well, what were the charges? The charges were that it was basically sort of criminal sort of defamation against the president. It's kind of a majest. It's a bit like the Thai thing, basically, or actually, it's very much like the North Korean thing. If you insult the president, that if you criticize the president, that you can go to jail or be be arrested and detained and intimidated. And they didn't want to go so far as doing this with the Korean press, but they had no problems at all with doing it with a right-wing Japanese newspaper bureau chief. So the Sankei bureau chief in Seoul was put under house arrest for over a year, just while he was being investigated, like before he was even brought to trial, for over 1 year, over summarizing Korean news. They weren't originating anything in the content about Park. So memos have now come out, and the whole investigation that's coming out around Park, one of her secretary's memos show that her office, at least, directed the police and the intelligence agencies to make an example of the media that were for criticizing her over the ferry thing, and directly to put this guy under house arrest for a year. The president directed it, and the term that they used was not criticism or defamation. They said it was blasphemy against the president. So it just reminded me, oh yeah, she is kind of a dick. She does deserve to be run out of office like she is. And it looks like she's going to be impeached next Friday. They gave her a week. She kind of threw a spanner in the works this week by, ahead of being impeached on Friday, she said, well, I'm going to resign ahead of the end of my term, maybe. And that kind of was enough to stop people from within her own party from throwing her under the bus on Friday. But she hasn't set a certain date, and it looks like she's just trying to buy time. And as a result, it looks like she's going to be out by next Friday. And remembering this story and coming out now that her office actually directly, I mean, this is total North Korea. This is Kim Jong-un shit that she was doing, trying to intimidate the Korean press by arresting a foreign bureau chief and putting him under house arrest in Korea for 1 year. It's just insane. And this is full-on, like, North Korea stuff. Ko Hoshino, if you are sleepy tonight, I suggest, well, it depends. If you want to go to sleep, keep listening, because I can talk about this stuff forever. Hey, Lara made it. Good to see you, Lara. I got the message earlier from Robert in the comments here that you said hello to everyone, so it's good that you could make it directly. And yes, I'm talking boring shit in a very excited, uncomfortable, nerdy way, like I always sort of do. Yeah, this is kind of this thing at the bottom. This really kind of bothers me, of all the bad shit that's going on around the president of Korea at the moment. Yeah, it includes that she personally directed the house arrest of a Japanese newspaper bureau chief for blasphemy. For blasphemy, like she's a god. I mean, really hard to tell the difference between North Korea and South Korea at this point, and I don't understand how she was ever president. So, yes, indeed, that was pretty interesting. What else we got here? Tokyo Rich, good guy, by the way. He writes a lot of really cool stuff. He's another good guy to follow. Talking a little bit about, he is a good, dedicated, what would I call, left of spectrum, sort of thinker, as well as being a very good writer. And he is kind of trying to cope with and understand the situation with the shift that's happening in UK and in America at the moment. And we're looking tonight. Lara's here Italy and Austria. Italy could be dropping out of the euro tomorrow, and Austria could be going back to old habits. Who knows? Interesting times. Kind of freaky. I'm very glad to be in Japan. I say that all the time, but I really, really mean it right now. Hey, Travis Moore, by the way, great to see that you made it. Hey, Eddie, good to see you. Hey, what did Japan have to say to that? The government protested numerous times about the arrest of the detention of this bureau chief, especially for so long, for over a year, with before trial. And each time the Koreans responded, well, this is a domestic police matter, it's got nothing to do with politics. But there it is. The actual office of the president was directly involved in directing the police on this. So they were lying. I mean, it's just insane. I mean, I'm bashing on Japan, bashing on Sankei probably was actually good for her image in Korea, but it's just silly stuff. Who else we got now? By the way, Renee Halpman, good to see that you made it. Mr. Korichev, well, I don't think they're quite going back to Adolf Hitler, but they will be the first European country, West European country, maybe other than Hungary, because I don't know that Hungary really is Eastern Europe. I know that they were communist, but they're actually, they're in the center of Europe. But they talked about going back to a far-right, anti-immigrant government, and you hope at least they won't repeat the mistakes that they've been making. Some interesting information there about Mr. Cordy Chip that I'm going to try to unsee now. Thank you for that. Let's see what else we got here. By the way, tax takings have been going down, partly due to the yen and everything like that. That's what that is talking about, which means that the Japanese government, which is currently even more in debt per capita than Greece and than Italy. I mean, it's got a much bigger economy to try to recover it, but per capita, we're not talking about total. Japan has crazy debt, and it's going to get even worse. That is my game. I'm recording gaming videos. I'm putting them onto my Hikobako, onto my second channel at the moment. I've got links for them. All edited, captured on iPhone. It's kind of like, I'm very impressed myself at how well it all came out. I put my own music onto it. I put a little capture commentary, and yeah, it's really cool. I love my iPhone 7, except that it doesn't have those damn AirPods because Apple keeps screwing it up. One thing I did get, by the way, because I want to get the AirPods, and I still want to get them. These are a bit too big to have everywhere. But I got the other W1 chip, the new Bluetooth compatible Beats headphones, and these are pretty good. The latency is not that bad. I can't play Hikosaemon with it because the latency is just like, it's like a tenth of a second. But when you're doing like rhythm stuff, you really need zero latency, so you need it to be a wired. What you can do, you can plug in a wired headphone for this. But for everything else, for video editing, gaming, everything else, very good sound, very comfortable, and very easy to sync up with the phone. So I'm also enjoying these, by the way. Russell Smith, the world is indeed getting dicey. I'm in the best place to go and do that from. Eating sour fruit gummies. Oh, I'm quite into that. Oh, you did the you did the photo shoot with Tia today. That's right. I remember you talking about planning that. Glad to hear that you did that. Say hello to Tia for me. She is awesome. And yeah. I'm not even going to get into those comments at the moment. Karaoke is in decline in Japan. Apparently a whole bunch of shidaks karaoke places just shut down. That makes me sad. Karaoke guys, sad. But those are the sign of the times. I really wish that they would make karaoke like make this karaoke. Seriously, I want these karaoke places to figure out how to shift their model like into more of an online thing. So that, make those catalogs available that we can have parties and houses that are full karaoke parties. I mean, I get that would be the end of karaoke, but hell, if Shitx is going out of business, why not do that? I will get butter. Don't worry about it. Butter will be gotten. So what else we got here? Angry Man, Taiwan, the whole Taiwan thing. I talked about that last night. I can talk about it a little bit more. The problem with Taiwan is that I can talk about it like forever because I really I'm interested in the issue. It's okay, Ross, don't worry about it. So what do I say about this? I say this, I don't give Trump any particular credit for anything. He just took a phone call from the president of Taiwan and accepted congratulations, and even China seems to be giving him at least a pass, because I think I wrote a lot about this on Facebook and on Twitter last night. In fact, on Facebook there were a few discussions I was doing. I gave my basic opinion, which is that intentional or not, I'm not going to hate on on Trump for every time he takes a crap. I mean, I know people are eager to spend the next 4 years complaining loudly about every time he breathes, but for me, I do want to do it point by point, and I want to save my criticism for when it's really warranted. Fact is, if he accepted a call from the president of Taiwan, and it's been policy of America to decline calls from the president of Taiwan for the last 40 years, well, that's fucked up. And he did the right thing, and good on him. And fuck, I mean, Taiwan's a country, 23 million people, the 19th biggest economy in the world, major friend of America, friend of Japan. Big trade. They make iPhones. They're major economic power, and we have. We've recognized. I mean, Obama flew to Cuba, met with Raul Castro. He lifted sanctions on Myanmar and Vietnam. Relations have normalized with all of these countries. And he calls up places that aren't recognized countries yet, like the Palestinian Authority, that are trying to be countries that deeply offend actual U.S. allies like Israel. So again, why is China writing? And to me, this is total the Emperor's New Clothes. You know the story of the Emperor's New Clothes, how someone pretends that he's making clothes and he's actually naked, and everyone has to pretend. They're so afraid of the king that they all have to pretend that the king has clothes on until one little boy says, hey, he's naked. Well, maybe, again, Trump is that little dickhead little boy. The problem is that in China, the story of the Emperor's New Clothes ends with the child being arrested and sent to a re-education camp. Which, by the way, they still do that shit. And, the thing is that they are under the impression, and the world is afraid and allowing China to think that, yeah, they can actually dictate something as much as that we have to pretend that a 23 million person democracy is invisible. I mean, are they crazy? We have countries, we've recognized countries like South Sudan that is currently, within 1 year of being recognized as an independent country, is going through a genocide and is full of UN peacekeepers. East Timor is practically a failed state. Recognizing, Bosnia without doing that, as I triggered the whole Balkans war. Kosovo. Why do we recognize Kosovo? I mean, all over the place we have all these non-viable countries. Taiwan is a country. It's never been controlled by the PRC. It's never been controlled. In the whole last 150 years, it's been controlled by the mainland of China for like 4 years, and that was under the government, which is currently the government in Taiwan. So, I think policy on Taiwan needs to be updated. And while people are saying, oh, look, they're going to upset China, look at that stupid Trump guy, yeah, look at, this is what happens when he's upsetting China. Well, I think China needs to be made to be upset about this. I don't think he was actually being as savvy or discreet as I want him to be, and that's why I can't really give him credit for. But if this whole thing triggers a reevaluation of the status of Taiwan, I think that's totally just. I mean, the fact is, Taiwan itself, which is a democracy, it's a democratically elected president. I mean, all the dictators and assholes that we have, doing calls back and forth with presidents, and we have to pretend to like. This is totally legit. It's a total democratic, first world, developed economy, and it's out of respect for a dictatorship that we, that's a very economically powerful dictatorship, that we have to pretend it doesn't exist, so that's my view on that. I really hope this triggers change, is my view on that, but I don't want to give him the credit for it, and who knows. I mean, the thing is, he changes his mind from 1 minute to the next. He probably never understood the significance of what he was doing in the first place when he did it, but I'm glad he did it. I mean, I saw some people saying, I hope he Forrest Gumps his way through this whole thing. He accidentally just gets it right. I mean, that would be the best case scenario of his presidency. The problem is that you can be pretty sure, I mean, geez, he's probably just gonna, hit the nuclear codes 3 or 4 times just accidentally against like random countries. But he might do some things right, and this might be one of them. He might increase butter exports to Japan. I mean, I'm not saying that he needs to do that, but I'm just saying that, if he wants to promote Make America Great Again. I mean, America has fantastic dairy. Well, it doesn't really have fantastic dairy, but it has at least more dairy than Japan has. And, Japan is really desperately in need of butter. And well, I would prefer non-genetically modified, non-plastic, normal coloured butter, like from New Zealand and Australia or Canada. I'd be quite happy to take even American butter. So who knows? He might make that happen. Let's go through again. And 071's an interesting one. Is he the President Nixon? Oh God, you're sucking me into this one. I'm going to respond to that by saying, no, I don't think he is the President Nixon. I think he's the... Well, you're going to hate me for this, but this is the same comparison that Noam Chomsky made. I saw a fantastic interview with Noam Chomsky with his expectations of Trump, and he sort of said he's never been... The only time he's been more afraid or as afraid of an incoming presidency was Kennedy. And he pointed out, and Kennedy actually took the world the closest to a nuclear war it's ever been. He's like Kennedy. Kennedy wouldn't have been president if television hadn't happened. Kennedy, on radio, he lost the debates against Nixon. Nixon would have been elected. Nixon was, for all of his extreme personal flaws, he was an intelligent person, and he, in his foreign policy, he established the one China policy, the switching the recognition of Taiwan, the détente with China. He had a lot of very smart people around him who, were assholes, but they at least knew what they were doing, and they did it on purpose. And he would have beaten Kennedy if people hadn't been able to see what an ugly motherfucker he was. I mean, and Kennedy didn't look so great on camera, like with makeup, even in black and white. Trump won this election because he was better at using new media. He was a reality TV star. He was, rage tweeting at 3 a.m. in the morning, just like the rest of us. him and his campaign were 2 decades ahead. I mean, Hillary was Nixon on radio, and you hate to say it, but unfortunately, rage tweeting at 3 o'clock in the morning is the Kennedy with makeup on TV. He was just more across media, and new media. And I think that's a big part of why he won. And that makes him like Kennedy, and I know Kennedy is one of the most respected presidents of all time, and he was a great speaker, and apparently an intelligent and cohesive man. But at the same time, he did grab. You talk about Trump being despicable as a person for grabbing women by the whatevers. It appears Kennedy did that every chance that he got, and geez, Kennedy was actually right on the brink of nuclear war with Russia. So I think that the Kennedy analogy, which in my defense, and I'm not a socialist, and I really do respect Noam Chomsky. I love his logic, even though I'm not aligned with him like politically. But Noam Chomsky said it. He said Trump is closer. Well, for me, he didn't actually say that Trump is like Kennedy, but I think that they're closer than Nixon. And Nixon's an asshole, but a totally different type of asshole. Anyway, and thank you, Geji. I just came up with that. That was just off the top of my head. I pulled that completely out of my ass. But you know what? I think there's actually more parallels between Trump and Kennedy than there are with Trump and Nixon. I think there are parallels with Hillary Clinton and Nixon, which fortunately we don't have to go into. So anyway, I'm going to move on. So what else we got here? Abe is the richest prime minister of all time. He is now getting a salary, or he has a income of $1.4 million US. Although that is now based on the cheapening yen, it's about 1.2 million. But he's doing pretty well. He's no Berlusconi, but he's doing okay. This app, I used this app today for the first time, and it made the thumbnail of this video I made using this app. It creates, what it does is it takes the sky. It makes any photo look like an anime scene. It kind of makes the cityscape look kind of nice and sort of painted, but it replaces the sky completely with these sort of apparently there's a neural network which finds these sky images, but they seem to be drawn from a definable pool. Apparently the people are saying this Everfilter app. Apparently there are definable, recognizable illustrations by animators that it appears to be using without permission. If that's the case, that is a great shame, but they look really good. I mean, I used one for a photo of Tokyo Tower, which you can see, and there are no actual clouds in the original photo. The clouds on it, I mean, it does look like an anime scene. It looks really, really cool. I've done some other photos with it, and they all look really great, which I'll be posting in future. So yeah, with all of that, it's interesting that that app might be getting into trouble for unauthorized use of the images, but they look really, really good, so I guess we'll have to see what happens with that. Kishida, he has been in Russia again. He's about to meet with Putin to try to set the ground for a peace treaty negotiation. When Abe went to South America and met in Peru with President Putin, he was a bit pushed back. He keeps hoping that he'll get the deal that there are 4 islands which are basically right beside. I mean, only like less than 10 kilometers. The closest ones are less than 10 kilometers away from the coast of Hokkaido. You can, literally see it from your backyard. Sarah Palin, if she lived in Nemuro, it would be legit what she was saying, but she doesn't. She's a crazy person. So yeah, the hope is that the Japanese residents of those islands will get the chance to move back onto them, and that they would be returned. At least 2 of those islands would be returned. And this was a deal that was actually agreed once in 1956 with Brezhnev, but it was never executed because Brezhnev died, and stuff happened in the Soviet Union and stuff like that. Now the KGB is back, and he's got such high approval ratings. Putin could probably get away with it, but he's also he's the way he is because he's a shit crazy nationalist. So when Abe was hoping to charm him, saying, yeah, we'll give you a lot of money in trade and send you a bunch of Pajeros and buy your gas, give us the 2 islands back, please. He was told that's not going to happen like right away, and 2, Russia announced that they were putting a whole bunch of land-to-sea missile launches on those exact islands afterwards. Plus they also announced a new helicopter service between the islands to sort of reinforce the transport connections with them and Russia. ostensibly to give comfort to the people, to the Russians who are living on those islands. By the way, the Russians who live on those islands and have lived there for 70 years now, very much like the Israel thing, for example. There's occupied land, but the people have been there for more than a generation now. The people who live on those islands, by the way, were deported there by Stalin. They were actually Germanic and Ukrainian nationalists who were seen as being enemies of Russia during World War II, and he picked them all up and he flew them over to the Far East and put them in Vladivostok and Sakhalin and these islands which were taken from Japan. He took the Japanese who were on those islands and he put them in Siberia as well. He kind of flipped them all around. He liked to shuffle people. Stalin he probably would have, in another life, he probably would have been a very good casino dealer, but instead he just killed people and uprooted them and moved them around his very big country, like he was shuffling cards, and that's what he did. So those people there, it's not their fault. They got put on those islands and have lived there for 70 years, and where do they live if you put the Japanese back? But there is this whole thing to get sorted out. It's not going to get resolved easily. I do like to joke, but it's only half a joke that probably Putin, every time they meet, Kishida says, when are you going to give us the islands back? And, Putin would probably respond, well, when are we not going to invade Hokkaido? That's what you're dealing with these guys. But it will be interesting. They are sending the ground to try to have, and he says that they actually had a very direct conversation, which, it appears Russia is always willing to have an extremely direct conversation when you go and talk with them. I hope that happens. It'd be nice to see an issue get rationally resolved. This was kind of cool. There was a photo of this. They actually found a foot of a moa. So, the moa is the biggest bird ever. It was in New Zealand. It was 3 meters tall, like 9 feet, 10 feet tall. And they actually found a really well-preserved foot. It looks like a dinosaur foot. Of course, dinosaurs were practically birds, so it's pretty close to that. They went extinct in about 1500, about 300 years after Maori arrived in New Zealand. And what would you do? You get to a country and you find out they've all got massive, supersized KFC. Of course, you're going to eat them all. If the Maori hadn't eaten them, of course, the Europeans would have done the same thing. But yeah, we had these massive birds. There were no predators in New Zealand. That's why they got to be so big. That's kind of cool. I thought that was kind of neat. That was taken from Reddit and translated into Japanese on LubberQ. I quite like LubberQ. I find a lot of my English Reddit from translated articles on LubberQ. It's a good site. What else we got here? So this is what I was talking before about how it turns out, Park might have actually been a real dick about that thing. Butter. Damn it, that's right. Kerberos. Is Kerberos here? Oh, he is there. German politicians does not matter how long they're in office. I obviously missed a lot of that, so I'm sorry about that. I'll probably look at the comments after the video. Shiseido, every Japanese company seems to be doing this, but they lost personal data on $420,000 people in Japan, so there you go. Yes, it's just like a massive Kentucky Fried Chicken. Like, imagine if you just came into a Kentucky Fried Chicken restaurant where every piece was like this big, and it was all free. That's pretty much what New Zealand was. It was just full of great big birds that were just, that didn't have any predators. John Carpenter film. I gotta look that up. That's probably not a good thing, but that's okay. I can roll with it. China can't dump Taiwan. Oh, so this is interesting. So this is a Trump advisor's view, and this is actually a more articulate view, which I more or less actually agree with, on the poor treatment of Taiwan, and specifically in the case of Bill Clinton in favor of China, to appease China. Screw that. Good reading, this one, actually. I could go forever about Taiwan, but let's see. We've only got 10 minutes left, so I'm going to try to move through as much as I can. Yes, racist people are happy about the changing government in America. Seems to be true. It is kind of sad that there are such dicks everywhere. But yeah, that does seem to be happening. Again, China is acting more pissed off at Taiwan than it is at America or Trump yet, I guess. And the reason for this, I went into a lot of detail about this on Facebook last night, but I was asked what my view on where this is all going to go, and I said, frankly, I think China would be happy that Trump is coming into power. In terms of geopolitics, although he's completely unpredictable, and this proves that, at the same time, he's primarily, at least he's positioning himself as an isolationist. He will, favor American jobs and he's talked about, withdrawing from all these countries that are mooching off American defense and, stealing American jobs, and he wants to bring all the military back, spend on the military, but bring the military back, bring the trade and the jobs back into America. i.e. they want to be less focused on other parts of the world and more focused on America first. I mean, it's an America first sort of policy, sort of a nationalist, nationalist in the technical meaning of the term, and isolationist. And what China wants to do is they want to basically encroach, have this kind of creeping territorial grabs, which they're doing first in South China Sea, then they're going to do in the East China Sea, and if that will be the real test actually. If America doesn't challenge China when it comes to grabbing the Japanese islands that it grabs, then Taiwan will effectively be surrounded, and they'll be able to apply military pressure without having to invade them anymore, and America won't be able to pull a stunt like they did in 1995 to make China back down. I'm pretty sure with China this is like a 2030 plan. Pretty sure it's a 20-year plan. America, works on 4-year cycles. It can't work on 20-year cycles like China can. I think it's all about getting Taiwan back. So to the extent of getting America to be less interested in being involved in the region, someone like Taiwan, someone like Trump, is totally helpful to what I perceive to be the Chinese agenda of kind of slowly creeping in and taking America's place as the hegemon of the region. The fact that they're saying we're totally not going to be the hegemon, to me, says that that's exactly what their plan is. And I think Trump will facilitate that if he goes through the rhetoric that he's doing. So I think that's why they're not criticizing Trump too much about this. They are criticizing the very, very naughty, democratically elected president of 23 million people on Taiwan for making a phone call to him, which is just ridiculous. But they're being kind of cool with him. The casino bill, don't get me started. There's another place I will talk about that. I mean, Komeito is supposed to be like the Christian Democrat Party, the kind of religious, moral principle-based party, but they've sold out on everything. They've sold out on militarization. They've sold out on peacekeeping. They've sold out on constitutional reinterpretation. Everything that they, that they were supposed to come and hold the line and make the LDP accountable for, they've totally sold out in exchange for power and position for the religious group that backs them. And here again, casinos, they're morally sort of supposed to be against it, but LDP's going to ram this through and they're going to act outraged, but they're going to go along with it because that's what they do every single time. So yeah, what else we got here that's interesting? Geez, this is all still from today as well. Yeah, that is the picture I made with that Ever filter thing. It looks really, really cool. I hope it doesn't, it doesn't cause trouble with that app. I mean, if it disappears, it disappears, but it looks really, really good. That is the Sankei thing. These are really cool electric motorcycles, which I think look very, very cool. I am looking forward to Guardians of the Galaxy 2 because I love Guardians of the Galaxy 1. I rewatched it recently on TV and it's just a really good movie. Passport stamps, meh, who really cares? Japanese women will apparently date anybody on Christmas Eve. For those of you who don't know, Christmas Eve is like a must-have-a-date night in Japan. I don't know how the marketing got so twisted that it became like a massive date night, and it does cause cultural misunderstanding. If you've got a Japanese girlfriend and you think that Christmas is, as I do, a kind of a time for like Thanksgiving, for getting back together with family and friends, yeah, and you do that on Christmas Eve when your Japanese other half is expecting a romantic date night, you are getting... Yeah, well, even in New Zealand, I had to put up with this shit. I had to put up with angry misalignment of expectations. But anyway, yeah, apparently they dropped their standards to the absolute. They will date anybody, literally anybody, for Christmas Eve, apparently, if they don't have a date. Mr. Cordy Chap, yeah, even Angry Face could do it. Yeah, I mean, seriously, they actually say that specifically here. You do not have to be handsome. Not that I've seen your face. I mean, I'm just going on the information that you gave me. But yes, you do have to go to Kentucky Fried Chicken. Yeah, it got into such a mess here, but they all wear sexy Santa costumes and eat Kentucky Fried Chicken. I mean, seriously, you couldn't ask, and in some ways, you couldn't ask for a better version of Christmas than what Japan has to offer. But yeah. Is there an audio meetup with Abroad in Japan and Rachel in June? Okay, well, there's going to be that. That sounds pretty cool. When is that going to happen, Lara? I should look that up. There's a lot of good people at Audio, actually, so that sounds pretty cool. Russell Smith, expired Christmas cake is a very 80s thing, the idea that women had to get married by the time they were 25. But yes, that's not done so much anymore. Mr. Cordy, I'm not insulting you, I'm quoting you, but which I don't believe. I believe that your face was probably completely fine, mostly. And in any case, you're in good company here. So yes, now this was interesting. This was Itai News. This is a summary of the voice of Japan's Breitbart, right-wing internet. They're very anti-pachinko, and they're anti-pachinko. You know what pachinko is? It's basically a form of gambling. We use like a pinball machine, but it's not like the pinball machines we have. It just shoots lots of little balls into like literally a pin machine. And if the balls fall in the right place, you get more balls out. You exchange those balls for prizes, which you can then walk up the road and exchange for money. The Mainichi Shimbun and the whole debate about Japan looking at legalizing casinos, so coming back to the story just before, has a story here, features a pachinko addict whose life was ruined and ruined his family through his addiction to gambling through pachinko, and he is begging that the government not legalize casinos as is being proposed under the current legislation. Generally, the right-wing internet in Japan, or the internet in Japan, points out the hypocrisy of the pachinko law. It's gambling, but they look the other way on it. Not only that, but it's actually an industry traditionally, not so much recently, but traditionally it's been very dominated by Korean minorities in Japan, and actually North Koreans. It's been a major source of income for the North Korean government, is addicted Japanese gamblers. So a lot of right-wingers in Japan say, why are we giving North Korea money by allowing illegal gambling to be legal in the form of pachinko? So again, they've got the story saying, hey, let's not pass a casino law, which by the way would hurt pachinko because it would be competitive against them. Because of my gambling addiction, they're saying, well, it's not gambling you're addicted to. Aren't you addicted to pachinko? Shouldn't you be asking them to actually ban pachinko rather than not approve casinos? Which I kind of agree with. I agree with it. But yeah, I mean, either you argue, why not just set up a casino with the same model as pachinko? Either way, I mean, it's hypocritical anyway, the system at the moment, and everyone in Japan realizes that. And it's kind of funny because Japanese don't make a big deal about the hypocrisy around like drugs or alcohol or that sort of thing, but they do around the gambling thing. So yes, this was just kind of funny, actually, this concept. I was reading about this and I could totally imagine this. Imagine if Alexa was like always reminding Chinese women about, that it's been one year, 3 months and 17 days since your 27th birthday. Why aren't you married yet? That sort of thing. It is kind of funny. I had a look at that earlier. Stan Lee was in Japan. Good on him. This is kind of cool. The hard disk which backs up automatically to the cloud that I'm thinking about getting. Japan has a shortage of hotels, so it's going to do the natural thing and clamp down on Airbnb hosts. This is the hotel industry really. By the way, yeah, Tatsuji Yoshimura, of course, is not right-wing. Although when you go to these matome sites like this, a lot of the opinions typically are on that sort of spectrum. And the prejudice against pachinko, which I share, by the way. I want pachinko to get banned as well. And I don't like the idea of money going through the Chosen Soren to North Korea. But there are a lot of people who take that North Korea bashing or Korean bashing or Zainichi bashing on that site too far, and it draws a lot of attention. So yeah, of course, I mean, it's a very big site. It's got 20 million visitors. So of course Nichan itself is not a right-wing site, but the rage mobs there often do form around right-wing topics. I think that's a fair statement. Anyway, that was the show last night. That was pretty good. What else we got here? Why can't you call Taiwan Taiwan? The Atlantic tries to explain to American people who are pretending to understand the Taiwan issue because Trump fucked it up and they want to feel superior, and they don't quite. And even the Atlantic, it doesn't explain the dynamics of domestic politics in Taiwan on this. The KMT is not a Taiwanese party. They're a bunch of gangsters who evacuated from the mainland after World War II, and America continued to support. After they lost the Civil War against the communists. And they controlled Taiwan under a brutal martial law that was in place in Taiwan until 1989. Taiwanese themselves were totally denied the ability to be in government. They were effectively invaded and occupied and brutally ruled by the the Chinese National Party that evacuated to Taiwan. For between 1953 and 1989, crazy shit. And it was only after, it was in 1993 when Lee Teng-hui became president who was actually from the Kuomintang as well, was from the Nationalist Party. He was the first Taiwanese-born leader of Taiwan in forever. And it was only from after that Taiwanese identity started to come through. This was in the mid-90s at the same time, and this is partly why China became very aggressive around Taiwan, because they shifted from the position of Chiang Kai-shek of wanting to declare that they were the actual government of all of China, to actually saying, you know what, fuck being the government of all of China. We're not going to pretend that anymore. But we are a country. Look at us. Treat us as an independent country. And that was that shift which really set off China, because that has some more legitimacy, frankly, than Taipei pretending to be the capital of China, which it did for 50 years. Long story, as you can tell. The Atlantic doesn't go into the domestic aspect of that, of the KMT versus the Democratic Party of Taiwan, and the tension that's very finely balanced within Taiwan of people. It's about 50-50, people who support the National Party that doesn't want independence, and the parties that do support independence. But you know, it's nice to see people are paying attention to the issue. Mommy, he's Abe appointee. He's not going to be reappointed to NHK. Woohoo! Dentsu is going to change, or must change to prevent karoshi. That's good news. Butter, yes. HIS and who else? It was HIS and what is the other company? Anna are going to invest in that looks like a Spaceship One airplane. I don't know if they've actually got a tie-up with that or not. It's actually called PD Aerospace, and they did this big public announcement that they are hoping by 2023 to have tourist trips into motherfucking outer space. Sign me straight up for it. The only thing is, it looks really, really impressive, this announcement. Two big companies, right? HIS and ANA are announcing a nice picture of what looks like Spaceship One and something going into space, and I'll totally be on that. The massive investment that they're making, showing their commitment to this venture, is 50 million yen. And I know that sounds like a lot until you actually stop and think about how much a yen is. That investment, 50 million yen, that is like $500,000. In fact, it's not even $500,000. It's like $490,000. Nagoya, I don't know anything about PD Aerospace, but Mitsubishi Heavy that does Japan's space program is based around Nagoya. So it's the right part of the country for it to be in. But also remember as well, you know, I wouldn't be rushing to get on these things. The Japanese space program, which is a fantastic space program, and you know, independent homebrewed technology, not like the Chinese space program that just buys Russian rockets. You know, they are now launching, and you know, pretty regularly, successfully launching satellites now. But they were pretty much just launching fireworks like for the first 30 years of that space program. I've seen documentaries where even the engineers themselves were joking. At times it felt like they were just setting up really expensive fireworks, because they would explode pretty much every time they'd send a rocket up. So again, I'm not sure I'd want to be on the first rocket to be sent by this company that I've never heard of, but I really want to go into space and I want to ride in that rocket. So I mean, if this happens, this is good news. I'm not sure $490,000 investment by HIS, which is a racist travel company that withholds cheap return airfares from foreigners. We got into a big scandal about that 10 years ago, which made me not want to go to them anymore. They're a very, very big travel company, though. You can't really avoid it now, and maybe they don't do that anymore. It might not happen exactly the way that they're talking about it. Again, if it was $50 million, I would be signing up. If it's, you know, if it's $490,000, you know, let's just wait and see how many times it blows up with all its passengers first, and then take a ride when it's looking totally safe. Still, I like the enthusiasm, and you know, it'd be cool if we have our own little Spaceship One. This is funny. After the Taiwanese president got away with calling Trump and getting it to pick up and changing the whole status quo of diplomacy in the region, someone posted this that I quite enjoyed. Kim Jong-un right now in Pyongyang. Guys, hear me out. We'll just say President Kim is calling from Korea. Yeah, I think that would totally work. If they were calling up Trump at the moment, you'd probably pick up to that. So yes, lots of stuff there happening. A very funny video there about how to be a skier. I haven't seen this one yet. That's from Kenji there. By the way, if you want to follow Kenji, which you should, his Esuken. Yeah, with the new Twitter, you can't see someone's handle, which is kind of a pain. If you want to, there it is. Esken, follow that guy. He puts good stuff. He discovered in New Zealand Christmas. Of course, Southern Hemisphere, it's summertime, and that's why I'm going there for Christmas, because Christmas should be hot and by the pool, and that is where I'm going. I haven't quite seen that song yet, but I've got it there marked so I can go and watch it. And Cordy would watch. He would watch us for the Butter channel, I know, because he is a man of discerning taste. And some people were asking, like, when they were watching all the surreal stuff about Trump doing stupid shit, is this real life? And I responded with this video, because I think it's a lot like that right now. Trump is, I said good job on Taiwan, really shitty job on the House Science Committee retweeting a Breitbart article saying that see the cold weather today isn't climate change a joke, and that they're going to be cancelling NASA's budget for Earth science, which is just crazy. We are past midnight. It is well and truly over an hour. I have now got, by the way, the Hero 5 for my lad. It's not going to be for me, and I'm not going to be making blogs with it. Whenever I'm out playing rugby or swimming or doing stuff, rock climbing or whatever, all the stuff that my lad likes to do, bouldering and stuff like that, we're going to use that to capture that stuff, and I'm really looking forward to playing around it. I'm going to do a review, I suppose. I'm going to totally get comfortable with all the features of it. I guess you'll see some stuff from it every now and then, but it's for the lad, so it's not for this channel. But yeah, it's really easy to use, indestructible, waterproof, and even if he's not using it, I'm going to use it to, that's going to be his Christmas present. It's an expensive Christmas present, but it's a damn good camera, and I'm really excited about it because it's an awesome thing. So I got that the other day, and I'm feeling good about that. Japan just added additional sanctions to Korea, including banning re-entry of 50 people from North Korea, which is to say there are actually 22 of those people are actual Japan-born Japanese residents who are affiliated with the Chosenso and the North Korean Residents Association of Japan, who work for the North Korean government and represent the North Korean government in Japan, and they're very upset about it. Hillary Clinton's campaign manager still doesn't know why she lost. Then she can't really have been a very good campaign manager. I understand she was probably very invested in the result, but seriously. There's Russia offering to not invade Hokkaido again. Good on him. And seriously, when I hear that Republican congressmen question the value of an asteroid redirect mission, between that and cancelling all climate change related stuff, I mean, the Tea Party has taken over the House and the Senate of America, and climate change deniers have taken over the White House. It seems to me the two most powerful forces in the world that are trying to directly bring about an apocalypse are ISIS and the Tea Party. And the Tea Party actually has way more power, and they're about to reorganize the whole Supreme Court as well. That's what I think about that. Butter time, yeah. This stuff as well, that's right. I mean, crazy shit. I mean, seriously, America is scary. Yes, the Grand Tour, I watched that. It was good. I'm going to watch more of it because I like Top Gear. Even though it seems to be cool to like 60s people now. Kevin MacLeod, he is indeed the king of royalty-free music. Tokyo Digital Crew will be the new king of royalty-free music, but if most people on YouTube, in fact a lot of the YouTube's own library is full of music that's made by him, and he makes perfect background music that anyone can use. Trump Duchess. It's kind of got a thing. I've also uploaded some pretty decent tracks this week. To Southern Sun, this is kind of someone said make a Eurobeat trance thing, and I did, and this came out kind of well. There's another one, Night Flyer, that I did the other day. I'm making some tracks, and they're pretty stylish, if I say so myself. So yeah, endless stuff, but we're out of time, and I have to go to sleep, and I have to do Ningajos, which are a real pain, the old Japanese interview cards, so I'm going to try to do that before I go to sleep. Hope you enjoyed the show. Really great to see all you guys in the comments, as always, there, having fun. With MC Hammer stuff, yeah. So, and that's it. Phoenix here. If you don't like his fucking ukulele, Tokyo Digital Crew is there for your stuff. Plus, of course, it's very easy to make your own stuff, and we put up videos on helping you guys to make stuff for yourselves. I'm more of a heavy metal ukulele type. I'm not. I just made that up. That doesn't even exist. Hope you guys all have a good night. It'll be really interesting to watch the Italian and Austrian vote results tonight. Have a good night. I'll see you again next week. Don't forget, go and check out my other Hikosaemon channel. Check out the Mediocre Gamer. Tell me what you think of those. I'm experimenting with YouTube features as well as iPhone editing features. I'm trying to make it good stuff. Tell me which ones you like. If there are a series on there that you think are worth it, I will move them onto this channel. Plus, you know, I want to build it up. It's kind of fun to build something new and, you know, to play around with it. So go and check out my other Hikosaemon channel with my girl Alexa, with Tokyo, what is it? Tokyo Effect, Fight Club, and Mediocre Gamer. Go and check out those playlists of awesome stuff. And I will see you this time next week. Lucas, you should do that. That would be cool. So have a good night, everybody. See you next week, and peace. Booyah. He said before having to go and spend another 30 seconds stopping the video. I clicked on stop, but it's not reacting yet. Waiting. It's gonna give me a dialogue. Am I sure I want to stop? Yes, I'm pretty sure I want to stop. That's why I clicked on stop. Why would I click on stop if I didn't want to stop? I have 3 screens. It's only like less than 1% of the screen space. I couldn't click it by accident. It would be funny if I did. No, I'm going to say good night. Good night, everybody.